Every racetrack has its own personality. But this place is possessed. Roaring inside the soul of the mountains. Most folks call it the Tricky Triangle. I'd call it 2.5 miles of asphalt with an attitude. Go through the garage, ask any driver. Pocono Raceway is the place they love to hate. I can't say I blame them. No other stop on the circuit provides the challenge of 3 turns with split personalities. And if you're off just a little bit, they'll drive you up a wall. Literally.
Get your hands on that wheel, let me know you're all right.
At this joint, the fastest car doesn't always finish first. But the cat who can keep us cool and stay focused, turn by turn by turn, that's who has a chance. This is no sprint. This is a 500-mile marathon. This is Pocono.
The second half of NASCAR's regular season gets underway today. NASCAR on TNT, happy to bring you the Sprint Cup Series and round 14 this afternoon at Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Overnight rain, cloudy skies right now, temperature is 67 degrees, a slight breeze out of the west, and yes, there is a chance of rain in the forecast here this afternoon. Hello and welcome once again, everyone. We are so glad you're with us for the next 6 weeks of NASCAR on TNT with Kyle Petty and Wally Dallenbach. I'm Adam Alexander. And Kyle, when you look at the last 5 weeks in the Sprint Cup Series, every winner has started 20th or worse. We got a few candidates deep in the field today.
Yeah, there may be a few that start like 32nd or worse. We're talking about Kevin Harvick. You're looking at Kyle Busch. And you go all the way back to the last race winner here, not this race winner, but the last race winner here, Greg Biffle. Those guys are going to have to drive past a lot of people. When they drop the green flag, they'll be almost a quarter of a mile behind on a 2.5-mile racetrack, and that's tough to make up.
And the thing about it is, it's hard to pass anybody these days, Kyle. So I think we've got a competition yellow that's coming out in lap 20. I think some of those guys that didn't have a very good qualifying run are going to have to gamble on these pit stops and try to get themselves track position, because you can see these guys are gambling a lot on strategy, and it's going to be no different here today, because we will be talking about fuel mileage, I'm sure, before the day's over.
No doubt strategy has been a key word all season long when it comes to NASCAR. So we talk about drivers starting deep in the field. Let's dial up the 5-hour energy starting grid. On the front row, Kurt Busch getting career pole number 14 yesterday. It's his second in a row. Denny Hamlin, a 4-time winner here, as is Jeff Gordon in row 2. There's your point leader on the outside of row 3. Ryan Newman has won here. Marcus Ambrose looking for his first victory at Pocono in row 4. And Mark Martin, 6 times a runner-up finish here at the Pocono Raceway. Clint Boyer, very good in this race last season on the outside of row 6. Row 7, Jimmy Johnson, the 5-time champion, pair of victories at Pocono. Tony Stewart got the first win for Stewart Haas Racing here a couple of seasons ago. He's joined on row 8 by Juan Pablo Montoya. Bobby Labonte and Casey Kane each have experienced victory here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. And then there's Brad Keselowski. You talk about momentum, he's got plenty of it. A winner last week at the Kansas Speedway. Row 11, J.J. Yaley made his way into the field. A great qualifying effort yesterday, as did Andy Lally starting right behind him. Brian Vickers with his first start here in a couple of years. Sam Hornish Jr. making his Sprint Cup debut in 2011. A.J. Allmendinger, Matt Kenseth, the pair of Fords in row 14. Gilliland and Nemechek on the 15th row. Kevin Harvick, 4th in both races last season here at Pocono. He's in row 16. Busch and Burton sharing row 17. There you see Casey Mears and Michael McDowell in the 18th row, and as you can tell, there are some big names deep in the field, including Greg Biffle, who starts in row 19 today. He won the last Sprint Cup race here in August. Let's hear from him. Kyle Petty, you got him.
Hey, Greg Biffle, this is Kyle Petty up here in the tower. Do you read me?
Hey, good, Kyle.
Hey, man, you guys killed them last year on track position. You've got absolutely no track position here at the first of the race. But you've got a long race. You got a competition caution at 20 laps. Will you guys do some stuff to try to gain a little track position, maybe try something different?
Yeah, Kyle, that's what we talked about, you know, Greg Irwin and I team engineers talked about, what 2 tires will do for the car. And, depending on the, it's going to be a lot of grip this morning or today, it's real cool out. So we'll try maybe some 2-tire strategy. Just never know what it's going to take to get some track position and try and get on sync with the guys up front. And we think we got a pretty good car. We just need to get some track position.
All right, man, run it like you did at the Coca-Cola 600 and you'll be okay. Track position will come to you. Good luck today, man.
You guys.
Greg Biffle, an impressive run here in August. The most impressive driver to this point in the weekend, Kurt Busch. Coors Light, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Coors Light Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier in each NASCAR Sprint Cup race. This week's Coors Light Pole Award winner, as we told you, Kurt Busch. It is the 14th of his career. One last trip down the pit lane. We begin with Marty Snyder. Good afternoon, Marty.
Good afternoon, Adam, and everyone in the booth. In Countdown to Green, we talked a lot about shifting coming back into play and playing a bigger role here at Pocono. We'll count Carl Edwards among the guys who is not looking forward to that. In fact, he told me moments ago, he said, for me, that's 3 opportunities to break something or for something to go wrong if I shift on every lap. So instead, they're going to try and stay in 4th gear for much of the day. In fact, he and his crew chief, Bob Osborne, worked on the 99 car, trying to get it where 4th gear was their best option, and they're pretty fast. Maybe not fast at the beginning of a run, but certainly fast at the end of a run. Let's head down pit road to Chris Neville.
Well, summertime is Stewart time. Over half of Smoke's wins, the 39 wins, have come between June and August. And Tony's the first to tell you he likes a hot and slippery racetrack. Well, it's not hot today, but in his last 10 starts at Pocono, he's finished outside the top 10 just once. Matt?
Chris, in 1971, Penske Racing scored the inaugural win here at Pocono with their very first race, an IndyCar race with the late Mark Donohue. Roger Penske brought his AMC Matador here in '75 and began a winning tradition in NASCAR. 8 different times they've gone to victory lane. Last week's winner, Brad Keselowski, would love to make it number 9. He has a very fast race car, but issues in qualifying forces him to roll off 20th on the grid. Stuck throttle issues. They still haven't been able to diagnose it yet. Ralph?
Matt, I spoke to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief Steve Letarte this morning, and he said, Dale Jr. doesn't get enough credit for being a student of the game. He's one of the best he's ever worked with, he says, when it comes to understanding the car and what it's doing during a run. And that is something today, Adam, that is going to come very much into play. He's going to have to work with that team to dial that car in. He's starting 21st.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., some ground to make up this afternoon, but he was very good here, as we pointed out in that final practice on Saturday afternoon. And you got to be good on a long run if you're going to have a chance to win today. And I think that's where Dale was most impressed with his race car on Friday afternoon.